Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Gananam Tvam Ganapati Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamasravastamam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anashrinvannoti Sadhanam Prano Devi Saraswati Vajebirvajinivati Dhinama Vitrayavatu Ganeshaya Namaha Saraswatyai Namaha Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.
Sairam, our Kansas Sai Center is blessed to have with us Dr. Soumya, Sister Geetha, and Dr. Dhurjati on the auspicious occasion of Swami's 95th birthday. First, we will be having Dr. Soumya sharing her experiences. Dr. Soumya Panchanathan grew up in Windsor, Ontario, and came to Swami when she was 12 years old. Her brother attended the Sri Satyasai Institute of Higher Learning in Puttaparthi in the early 80s. Her parents had the privilege of working in the Sri Satyasai General Hospital in Puttaparthi from 1998. She has served Swami as the devotional coordinator and the SSC coordinator in the Mesa Sai Center in Arizona and as a regional YA advisor of Region 9. She has taught SSC groups 3 and 4 for several years in the Mesa Sai Center. In her professional life, she is a pediatrician and as well as being a medical educator. I would also like to note that her husband, Dr. Sethuraman Panchanathan, is the director of the National Science Foundation. Now I'd like to virtually hand over the mic to Dr. Soumya. Sairam.
Sairam to all of you, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity to remember and share just some experiences and stories and teachings that I've had the fortune of having from Swami through the years. And so on this occasion of Swami's 95th birthday, I pray at Swami's lotus feet, and I pray that he will speak through me and give you all whichever message he wants you to receive. So when I was thinking about what to speak at Swami's 95th birthday, I thought to myself, when somebody has a birthday, we give them a present. And I reflected, what present does Swami want to have? Would Swami want from us? Because he is everything, and there is nothing that belongs to us that we can give him. So I believe there are 3 things that we can give him. And I'll share with you some stories about why I think those 3 things are very important. So I think the first gift we can give him is the gift of faith. And when we talk about faith, I don't mean faith as in believing he's God. I mean faith that is actionable. How does faith become actionable? Faith, when we make it into trust, when we trust that Swami knows what is good for us and intends for the best to happen for us, that results in obedience. And so I think that when faith is actionable, it becomes obedience. So I think many of you would have heard the story, but I will share it. When I was in medical school in fourth year. I was 4 months or so from graduating, and Swami came in my dream at that time and asked me to quit medicine. Now, at that time, I had completed only 2 years of undergraduate, because at that time and in Canada, you didn't have to complete a degree before you got into medical school. And so when he came in my dream and told me to quit medicine, it was actually quite a startling thing, because at the end of 5 years, 5.5 years of study after high school, all I would have to show for it would be a high school degree. When Swami wants us to actually be able to follow, he clears our mind and he actually guides us to doing the thing that he wants us to do also. So I actually did quit. I went home to my parents, told them of what had happened, and I went back to the school the next week. And I stayed home for a week to really reflect on it, meditate about it, or maybe I should say silent sitting, and pray about it. And I decided, okay. And somehow I felt that this was an opportunity that I would not come my way again. I don't know what gave me that feeling, but I ended up quitting medicine. And then we waited for Swami to give permission for us to come to India. And slowly but surely, after I quit, or at the same time, we sent a telegram to my brother, who was in Swami's school at that time, and he showed it to Swami, and Swami said, yes, I had told her to quit, and I had already quit by the time we got that verification. And so we waited for Swami to give us permission to come. What happened was that when we went, Swami ignored us completely. Now, this dream happened in January, and we didn't get permission to go until April end. And then he ignored us for 2 weeks, and then he called us in on the day after what would have been my final exams. And he asked, have you finished your studies? And I looked at him and my heart fell into my stomach. And I said, Swami, you told me to quit and come. And he said, would I ever do that? I told you to finish and come. And my father, who never would talk very much when Swami was there, he said, he took out the telegram that we had from my brother. He said, no, Swami, at that time you told. And Swami said, yes, at that time I told. Now you go back and finish. And in that same trip, he also said, don't just stop with your degree, continue and do your residency. This is just kindergarten. And he even implied that I should do pediatrics as a residency. So, and then he said, go back and finish. So I don't think that that was that easy, because when I left, I had assumed that people were never going to, I was never going to see them again. So I said, my guru has told me to quit, and that's why I want to quit. And they even said, do you want to take a leave of absence? And I said, no, because he did not tell me to take a leave of absence. So I came back and I told them, I went back to my, the dean, and I said, my guru told me to come back. And they said, okay, well, we'll have to send it back to the admissions committee. And the recommendation was that I be readmitted with 3 conditions. Now, I think the reason that they were willing to readmit me was I had been a really good student, and I had been class president in 3rd year, and I had been involved in everything. I had done really well in my clinical years. And so I think they didn't want to perhaps waste their investment. But in any case, the first condition was that instead of doing electives, I should redo the major rotations, medicine, surgery, pediatrics, etc. That was fine. The second condition was that I had to get a letter from a person of my religion that said that this was a normal thing to do. Now, first of all, I don't think anybody would say this is a normal thing to do. But even people who are Hindu would not believe this is a normal thing to do. And a Sai devotee, there is no such thing as a professional Sai devotee. I mean, a center president, our center president was a labor negotiator that in his day job. And so I needed somebody with credentials to say this was normal. And it turned out that there was a religious studies professor in Windsor who was willing to write a letter that spoke about the role of the guru in Hindu philosophy. And he said, it is absolutely appropriate for the guru to say what should be done both in the spiritual life and in the secular life. And so he was not a Sai devotee at the time. And so he provided me with that letter. And then the third condition was that I be examined by a psychiatrist to make sure that I wasn't under the influence of a cult. And so fortunately, he declared that I was sane and I was fully capable of making decisions. And I think it became very clear that Swami had not said you must. He said, if you want to please me, first of all, and second of all, he made it very clear that it was good for me. And I had full choice to do it or not to do it. So, and therefore I was readmitted. Swami was very smart. He never told me why he did this. And every time I think of this episode in my life, I find new reasons for why he did it. And one of the reasons comes with today's talk. When we talk about faith and trust, the obedience that comes because you know that Swami has your best interest at heart, number one, and number two, that Swami can see more than you can. That makes you obedient. That makes you obedient to what he says in his discourses. That makes you obedient to what he says in life, to you in physical form, and it makes you obedient in general. So I found that the trajectory of my life changed completely. And I was fortunate. At the time that this happened, I was 21 or 20, I think I was 21. And I can't imagine it made such a profound impact that a small change in what you do in response to Swami's words makes a huge impact in the trajectory of your life. And I want to tie this into the concept of constant integrated awareness. For a long time, I didn't understand what Swami even meant by constant integrated awareness. What are we integrating with what? So we all are going through life, really seeing our life unfold in front of us. There is another awareness that I think Swami is speaking of, and that is like when you go through a forest, walking on the path, and when you are in a drone above the forest, seeing the path. And when you have the ability to switch between walking on the path and having that vision of where that path is taking you and where the dead ends are and which forks might take you quicker, when you have that vision, and what does that look like in real life? And I think it looks like the awareness of what your lessons are. When you understand what your lessons are, that is that awareness that you get. That is the drone vision that you have of that same path. And you can look at the same events that you're going through and you can love them, even when they're difficult. You can love them because you understand what you're learning from them. And so I think then obedience to Swami's word comes more easily. This next thing I want to say about faith and obedience is, if you think about the times when you have not listened to Swami's word, or you have done a wrong thing, it is usually because you have not had faith that Swami will take care of your need. For example, if somebody was to steal something, the faith that they will get, whether it's food or whether it is whatever it is they want, that they will have the money to pay for it, or that they will have the ability to buy it. That faith that you will not have to compromise your ideals in order to get what you want is another big way that keeps you, a big method that keeps you on a straight and narrow path. It is hard to stay on that straight and narrow path without that faith, without that trust. Swami has said in the Geetha, well, Krishna has said in the Geetha, that if you think about me always, I will look after your well-being. And Swami has said, if you do my work, I will do your work. So both of those guide us and help us to understand that one of the best gifts that we can give Swami on his birthday is the gifts of faith, trust, and obedience. So that is the first gift. It's a 3-in-1 kind of gift. The second gift is based on my observation of Swami and how he interacted with my father. And that is the gift of joy and gratitude. And my father, towards the later years of his life, he had very bad Parkinson's and he couldn't move very well. And the medicines would either make him very high, make the levels would go very high, or the levels would go too low. And he had movement difficulties in both ends. And whenever it was very, very, very hard, he would pray to Swami, or he would say, Swami, it's difficult. And Swami would create vibhuti, give it to him, and he would say, be happy. And I always used to wonder why that was the one instruction he gave my dad every single time. But I believe that being happy and having gratitude to both Swami and to everything that we have grateful in our life, everything for which we can have gratitude in our life, these change your whole perspective, and your health gets better, your physical health gets better, your emotional health gets better, your spiritual health gets better, and you're able to radiate joy. And that is what Swami did for his entire life. There was so much laughter around him. There was so much joy that he gave every single person. And he came with the intent of not only giving us joy, but teaching us joy. So, the saying says, if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. But if you teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. So Swami gave us joy, but he gave us joy in a way that enticed us. He made us want to be close to him. He made us want to observe him. He made us want to follow him. He made us want to make him happy. And in that process, he taught us how to fish and how to be joyful, even when he isn't here physically. And I think that is the process by which we can honestly feel that he lit the light within us. And now the gift that we can give is the gift of being joyful in such a way that other people look at us and say, I want that. I want what that person has. I want to see what their secret is. I want to live like that. Not because we're happy because we have the things that make people happy, but because we're happy and we have the capability to share joy. And that is what I believe that Swami wants us to do with the joy that he gave us, the joy that he lit in us. I think he wants us to light that sense of joy from within us to everybody around us. I think it's very easy to be joyful when things around us are happening good. And so we don't notice if we're joyful from inside or joyful from outside. But it is when things actually are challenging that we can realize, oh no, I'm not being very good at being joyful from inside. 2020 has been a very challenging year. And it has been difficult to be joyful from inside and to be grateful for the things that are good. It has been challenging to take our eyes off of the things that have gone wrong this year. But Swami, what you focus on becomes bigger. And Swami wants us in these challenging times to focus on Swami, to focus on love, to focus on what we can do for others in this challenging time and how we can share the joy that's inside of us. And that, I believe, is the second gift that I can think that we can give Swami as a birthday gift. And the final gift, I think, is that of a life well lived. And what do I mean by that? So a lot of times, I think that we focus on the things that we do wrong that we shouldn't do. But I think more often we don't do things that we should do. We spend a lot of time and a lot of energy not doing things that are wrong, but doing things that are not fulfilling, service-minded. I think that we can use our time better, we can use our energy better. And I think when we look back, I think that is another thing that Swami, if I look at how Swami spent every single day, he was busy from morning to evening. And when he was there, I remember we used to stand and watch him, and you could see his hair moving across the window of the interview room. And you could see him go up because you could see the light go on upstairs. And then every once in a while in the afternoon, you would see him walk out on the balcony of the upstairs of the mandir. And you saw in the afternoon that he didn't rest like everybody. He was reading letters, and he was walking up and down, and he would see who's there. And I remember being very busy watching him being busy. And so I think that how we spend our time and energy can be made better. It's not that we're doing something wrong, but we could do it something better. When we think of sacrifice, and when we think of how we are spending our time and thinking of it as a sacrifice to spend it better, I'm reminded of Swami's story that what he does is he takes one thorn to remove another thorn. And when the thorn is out, he throws them both away. He used to tell this story a lot, and I didn't really understand what that meant. When I became a mother, I realized that you don't think of it as sacrifice. You just think of it as something you want to do more. And so there were times when I didn't sleep as much because I wanted to be there for my child more. There were times when I worked part-time, but that was because I wanted, again, to be with my child more. Now that my children are older, there are other things that I want to do more. But I think when we want Swami to be happy more than we want some of the other things that we do, I think we will slowly transition to spending more of our time and energy on things that Swami would feel are more aligned with our spiritual journey, more useful to other people around us, more kind, more aligned with Swami's teachings. I think at the end of it, that is what he means, is that we are, this is what he has come to teach us. He has come to teach us what does it look like, a life well lived. And if you think about Swami's life, he slowly but surely transformed so many of us. He showed so many of us in such a loving, kind way what we were doing and how we could be better, that his life impacted so many people and made us, each of us, more kind and more loving. When we think about the correct meaning of surrender, came a few days ago in the Sai Inspires. And it said, the correct meaning of surrender is to make use of your God-given faculties and energy to perform your legitimate work, dedicating all your activities to the Lord without the false sense of doership and without undue concern for the results of your actions. And so when you think about surrender to Swami, it kind of aligns with all of the things we've talked about, that you can only surrender if you trust him and you really believe he knows why you're being asked to do something. You can be joyful because you are surrendering to a cause that is bigger than ourselves. And you don't have to look back on a life well lived. Every moment of your life becomes a life well lived. And so I want to leave you with what I often leave people with at the end of my talks. You know, when we come to Swami, and Swami says this often, I give you what you want until you want what I have come to give you. And, you know, we all come to Swami saying, Swami, please give me this, a good job, please give me a child, please give me a good marriage, please give me whatever it is. And so the question is, has Swami come to fulfill our mission, what we consider our mission, or are we going to fulfill what his mission is? And the reason I say that is when you are a child, or rather, when you're a servant, you expect pay for everything you do. And Swami always talks about the 3 stages. The 3 stages are I am the servant of God, I am the son of God, and then I am God. So when you become the son of somebody, you align your life with the mission of your father. And you don't do it for pay. What you do it for is you do it for love of your father and love of the mission that your father is on. And so at some point, we have to grow up and we have to think about being part of Swami's mission and contributing to Swami's mission. We can't be children anymore, where we ask Swami for this and that and toys. We ask for things that will make us happy for a little bit. I think the time has come for all of us. And I think, first of all, that part of that growth really happened in 2011 when he left his physical body and all of us grieved. But he made us grow to understand that his teachings were more important than his person. And this year, I think, has been challenging in a completely different way, where he has challenged us to stay centered, stay joyful, stay grateful, stay trusting, and keep the faith and live our lives as a life well lived. And I think all of those things are what this year has taught us. And this gives us the 3 gifts that we can give to Swami back this specific year. The first one is faith, trust, and obedience. The second is joyful gratitude. And the third is a life of sacrifice, service, and well lived in terms of usage of our time and energy.
Sairam, Dr. Soumya. On behalf of Sri Sathya Sai Baba Center of Kansas, we would like to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for sharing such divine glimpses of Swami's divinity. Next, we have Sister Geetha's experience sharing. Sister Geetha Mohan comes from a family of devotees that has been in Swami's service for more than 6 decades. Her, her granduncle Seshagir Rao was Swami's personal attendant for more than 20 years. He was also the first priest at Prashantinilayam when it was built in 1950. He came to Swami in 1943. Her father, Dr. Padmanabhan, a renowned dental surgeon, was very dear to Swami and served him in various organizational capacities at Whitefield, Bangalore till 2008. Many of you might recognize him as the person who walked behind Swami during darshans in Whitefield. Sister Geetha's mother, Kamala Padmanabhan, was appointed by Swami to be the SSC coordinator for Karnataka state in India, which she served with distinction for 25 years. She was specially chosen by Swami to be part of the original group that developed the first SSC Bal Vikas curriculum under the direction of Bhagavan himself. Sister Geetha's family was one of the 9 families that started the first Akhand Bhajan in 1945 under Swami's direct guidance. They conducted this for 25 years until Swami declared it into a global event. Sister Geetha, who was named by Swami, has had the incredible fortune of enjoying and experiencing the multifaceted personality of our Divine Lord from birth. While Swami graced their home in Bangalore with his presence regularly, all her holidays and festivals were spent with him in Puttaparthi. At the tender age of 15, Geetha was selected by Swami to be an SSC teacher and in addition delivered lectures under the EHV, Education in Human Values program to high school teachers throughout the state of Karnataka, India. In 1978, her marriage to Mohanram was performed in the divine presence of Swami at Whitefield. Their twin sons, Varun and Arun, were born in 1981 and named by Swami. 7 years later, Swami directed the family to go to USA and they settled in Maryland, Washington, D.C., where Mohan worked in NASA satellite operations. Geetha taught kindergarten children in a private school for 17 years and was awarded the Best Teacher of the Year for 5 years in a row. At Swami's command and with his blessings, Geetha has been sharing her most intimate and wonderful experiences of our beloved Lord in different parts of the world, including USA, UK, Canada, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, South Africa, Australia, Mauritius, and India for the past 20 years. In November 2005, on the occasion of Ladies' Day, during Swami's 80th birthday celebrations, she was chosen by Swami to address the distinguished gathering in his divine presence at Prashanti Nilayam. Now, I would like to virtually hand out the mic to Sister Geetha. Sairam. Sairam.
Sairam, can you hear me?
Yes. Sairam, Sister Geetha. Thank you so much for joining us. We are able to hear you.
Thank you. Mukam karoti vachalam panghum langhaite girim yat krupa tamaham vande paramananda madhavam. Offering my pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Swami on this very special and auspicious occasion of Swami's 95th birthday, 95th year of his advent to this world, so that he could be this wonderful example of love to all of us. I offer my pranams at his lotus feet. I say Sai Ram to all of you, elders, brothers, sisters, and children who are a part of this program today. Wishing you all a very happy Satya Sai Janmadinam. Sai Ram. Thank you, Sister Lakshmi, for the kind introduction. I started out with a small prayer, Mukam Karoti Vachalam. It is one of the Dhyana slokas of the Bhagavad Gita. It is just a prayer that talks about how, with God's grace, anything is possible. Dumb person, a person who cannot speak can become eloquent. A person who is lame can climb a mountain. So anything is possible with his grace. I usually start off with this prayer because I have just had the good fortune of being born into a family which came to Swami many, many years ago. My granduncle, Sri Sheshgiri Rao, this is my father's uncle, came to Swami in 1943. And from then on, the family were a part of Swami's mission, I suppose, in different ways. And I came into this world, and I was very fortunate to have just born into a family which was very deeply rooted in Swami and his teachings by the time I came into it. So I suppose, compared to many other people, it was actually, what should I say, easy for me, because as a child, I was, we had pictures of Swami everywhere, just like we had pictures of Sri Rama, Krishna, and all of the other deities at home. We also had a picture of Swami. But for me as a child, the only difference was that this Lord, this God in our puja room, whose picture we had, came to our house very often. So I had the good fortune as a young child to grow up in the physical form, near the physical form of Swami, because all of my holidays, as sister was reading from my introduction, all of my holidays from school, anytime, any weekend that was there, was spent always in Puttaparthi. Luckily, we were from Bangalore, and Puttaparthi is only 100 miles away. So we were able to go on weekends and come back. Of course, in the early years, when there was no proper road to Puttaparthi, it was a long journey for us. Even though it was 100 miles, it would take us many hours to get to Prashanti Nilayam. But as the years went by, it became a little bit more easy. As I'm talking to you today, it is Swami's birthday. It is Swami's 95th birthday. But my mind is going back to Swami's 50th birthday. Many of you may not have been on this earth at that time. Many of you younger people were not born. But I was very fortunate to attend, just as I had attended many, many birthday celebrations. This birthday too, I attended in Prashanti Nilayam. This was Swami's 50th birthday. There was a lot of excitement, I'm sure, even now when we watch the global, the Radio Sai and other, when we see the videos, we see the excitement, the decorations. And we too, at that time, though there were not all this lighting decoration, the whole place was decorated in a very traditional way with banana leaves and mango leaves tied to the doors. And there was always a great sense of excitement, because first thing in the morning, Swami would come. His mother and all my elderly aunts, my parents, would put a little oil on Swami for the traditional oil bath. And then he would go and come back again after his bath was over. And we were always very, very excited about the whole thing, every birthday. But this particular birthday was very special because it was Swami's 50th birthday. From the age point of view, we are all talking about birthday. Swami says he has no birth or death. He is the eternal Atma within us. But the physical form had a birth date. So that particular day, we were all excited, mainly because we were youngsters, and the whole place, Prashanti Nilayam, many of you may have seen it in pictures. Many of you may even have been there at that time. I don't know, or even in the later years. There was no Sai Kulwant Hall or anything. There was sand everywhere. And the great excitement of that birthday was the stupa, which you all see with all the religions on it, had been built. And Swami was going to inaugurate the stupa, and the whole place was filled with people. And Swami was going to inaugurate that stupa on the morning of his birthday. Now, to add to the excitement of the stupa opening, because it was so crowded, we came to know the previous day that Swami would give darshan to all the people, the huge crowds that were there, by helicopter. That he would go round and round the Prashanti Nilayam, and we could all have his darshan on a helicopter, and it would land right there near where the stupa is, between the Purna Chandra and the stupa, and he would come out of the helicopter. So you can imagine the excitement in the air to think that Swami would give a helicopter darshan. So we were all, the previous day, unfortunately, was it was raining a lot, and November 22nd, it was raining. And in those days, of course, there was no convocation and ladies' day and all those things. It was just several functions that would happen. There would be musicians like P. Sushila and others who gave music concert, usually on the day of birthday. So it had rained, and all night, the volunteers, the Sevadal people had put all the lights on the stupa, and they had put these dharis on the ground for the bhajan singers to sing, and of course the regular crowd would sit on the sand. But the plans were a little bit messy because the whole place had become very wet. Anyway, the following morning, we all got up very early, and all of us wanted to go and sit down well ahead of time. My cousins were all very good singers, so they went well ahead of time because they were going to sing many of the bhajans during while we were waiting for Swami to come for the stupa opening. So we all got ready and we went there. And somehow it was so crowded between our room to the stupa that I kind of got separated from the group. My cousins, my mother, all of them were going forward. There was a lot of pushing, and there was a lot of Sevadal people moving people to different areas. And in that crowd, I got separated from the crowd. But somehow I managed to get, of course, a little bit far away from the actual bhajan singers. And I went and sat down on one of the dharis that had been spread out, maybe about 20-25 rows behind all these people, my aunts and things. They looked for me, but they couldn't find me, and they had to go because the bhajans were starting. So I sat somewhere on the 25th or 30th row, I don't remember now. They sat down, and of course, we were all waiting, and the most exciting thing, Swami came in this helicopter, and we could see him going round and round, and people were clapping, and the bhajans became more intense, and we could see Swami waving his handkerchief from the window of the helicopter. He gave darshan to everybody so that nobody could feel that on such an auspicious and special day, they had not had the darshan of Bhagwan because of the crowds. So finally, the helicopter landed, and I have a very vivid image of Swami. As soon as the helicopter landed, the door was very high, and even before they could bring a stool or something for Swami to get down, Swami Karunyanandaji just picked Swami and put him down on the ground. He just carried him out of the helicopter, and everybody clapped, and Swami started to walk towards the stupa, which he was going to open. So you can all remember the story of the stupa next time you go to Prashanti Nilayam. So as Swami started to come, of course, Swami was going to cut a ribbon and turn on the switch so that the whole stupa would get lit with the beautiful lights that they had put. And we were all sitting, and Swami started to walk with the Purna Kumbham and all the Vedic prayers. And as he walked, he passed me. I was sitting somewhere in the middle. He didn't see me or anything like that. He still had some ways to go. And as he walked away a few yards away from me, suddenly he stopped and turned around, and he said, "Geetha ma," he called. And of course, there were so many Geethas in the crowd. Several people stood up, very excited at the fact that Swami had called. So I was a little scared. I was a young girl, and I was scared to stand up. I did not think that he was calling me in the middle of the birthday celebration in the crowd. But he looked around and said, "Padmanabh Kutru, Geetha ma." He said, "Get up," he said. Padmanabh Kutru in Telugu is Padmanabh's daughter. My father's name is Padmanabhan. So, "Get up," he said. And before, it was so crowded, people were all jam-packed, sitting so close together. Before I could set right my sari and get up, Swami walked back and just caught my hand and pulled me out of where I was sitting. And as soon as he pulled me out and I came onto the carpet which had been laid out for Swami to walk, there was a little bit of a fire on exactly the spot that I was sitting, and there was a big burn in the carpet, and that fire just fizzled out and it went. If I had sat there, my sari certainly would have caught fire, and he just pulled me off. What had happened was they had put all the wiring for the stupa, and they had put carpets over it, the little dharis, what we call jamkanam in India. They had put that, and underneath that, because of the rain from the previous day, somehow the wires short-circuited and caught fire. And Swami just pulled my hand out of there. And even though he did, the edge of my sari did catch a little fire, but it went out. And Swami said, go and sit in the front. Why are you sitting separately from your family? He sent me to the front. And of course, it was a wonderful 50th birthday. Every time Swami's birthday comes, I always remember this incident, because after this, for a young person, we are always, I just heard Sister Soumya talk about how we always worry about what we can get from Swami. Swami has not given me this. We have prayed for this and we have prayed for that. And it is a matter of growth. And as we grow, hopefully we start thinking about what we can get from Swami. Instead of that, we can start thinking about what we can give to Swami. So that day, my sari had a little bit of a hole, but the function went on and nobody knew what had happened. All these people were singing bhajans. My cousin, I went and sat with them and started to sing. There was no time to talk. Swami went and inaugurated the stupa, and then he went on to give his discourse and all that in the Shanti Vedika. And it got over, and we came back home, and I told my mother what had happened, and my mother was really quite surprised that this had happened, quite amazed, and very thankful that somehow Swami had saved me in that moment. All of that got over, but the nicer part of this story was that in that year, Swami gave as a gift to many of the old devotees the room for them to stay, for them as a gift. Unlike us who expect gifts for our birthdays, Swami's birthday, if you have seen the videos, is always about giving and giving and giving to everyone. So that year, the West Prashanti building, if you all have seen the Purnachandra Hall, those of you who are familiar with Puttaparthi, you will know where the Purnachandra Hall is, and on to the right of the Purnachandra Hall is West Prashanti building. So my parents, Swami was kind enough to give a room to my parents. It is a small room with a kitchen and a little bathroom, and to many of the old devotees in that building, Swami gave it as a gift for his birthday. So in W2 West Prashanti, my parents were given a room. So he had suddenly that morning after the birthday discourse was over, so we had not yet entered that room because it had not yet been inaugurated by Swami, but we didn't know when he was going to do it. He sent word that Swami is also going to inaugurate that West Prashanti building, and that he would come to all of the rooms personally, and that he would himself inaugurate each of the devotees' rooms. So immediately there was a lot of excitement. Swami was to come the following day. So, the following day. And, my mother and everybody started to think that we have to prepare something sweet for Swami when he comes to offer him. And they got the altar and everything ready, so that they bought a ribbon to tie across the door so that Swami could cut the ribbon and go and enter and inaugurate the building. So we were all waiting, and there was another lady, an elderly lady, to whom Swami had given a room in that same row at the end of our row. It was many rooms, one next to the other. I'm sure you're all familiar with the Prashanti Nilayam buildings. This is not the round buildings, it is just those square buildings. So there are rooms one next to the other. One of the rooms had been given to one lady called Lalitamma. So she had a daughter. She was a widowed lady, and she had a daughter. Daughter had come for Prashanti Nilayam for Swami's birthday. So everybody was excited, and we all got ready. That lady too had prepared all day, thinking Swami is going to come, Swami is going to come. So she prepared a sweet called Mysore Pak and some muruku to offer to Swami when he came and inaugurated. So everybody was very ready and excited. And we all started to tie the ribbons when they had said that Swami might come anytime in the morning the following day. And as we started to tie, the lady felt very bad that she had not thought of buying a ribbon where Swami would cut. And she was an elderly lady, old-fashioned lady. She had not thought of this ribbon and all that. But when she saw that all the rooms were tying the ribbon, she too wanted to do that. But she didn't have a ribbon, nor did she have a pair of scissors. This was all just new buildings. We were all staying in some old rooms away. It was going to be given to us then. So in those days in Puttaparthi, this many stores and the stores inside Prashanti Nilayam and all was not there. If you wanted to buy anything, you had to go out of the Ganesha gate to, there was one or two small shops there and you could get things. So she said, no, I will quickly go. I don't know when Swami will come. Anyway, not so early in the morning at 8 o'clock. So I will go and buy some ribbon and scissors and come. And she had prepared, they kept all the sweets and everything. And they had put a Swami's picture inside the room and they kept everything ready. So had we. Sure enough, while this lady who had prepared with so much love all these sweets and everything, she had gone, and unfortunately, this is how Swami tests our devotion, I think. When she had gone, Swami arrived and he started to inaugurate. And like he would enter each room, go in there, somebody would offer something, he would take a small piece, put it into his mouth, go to the next room, cut the ribbon, go inside. So like this he was doing, and he came to our room also and he cut the ribbon, and Swami's picture was there. My mother asked Swami to light the lamps. So Swami lit the lamps, and my parents and all are old timers, very traditional people. So Swami was about, they said, no, Swami, we have to do aarti. You can't go like that. So the traditional aarti with the kumkum water and everything was ready. And they did aarti to Swami, offered some sweet that they also had made, paisam or kheer as we say. They did all of that, and then suddenly Swami called one of the people who was nearby and said, you give it to her, he said. That gentleman was carrying a bag and he gave it to my mother. He said, no, not to the mother, you give it to the girl, he said. So they gave me a bag, and Swami said, oh, did Geetha ma tell you yesterday where she was sitting, her sari caught fire because the wire circuited. So my mother said, and my father also said, yes, Swami, thank you very much, Swami. In that, he said, yes, I'm saying Geetha ma, she didn't understand. I had to go near her and pull her out of that place. Till that time, I had to keep that Agni down so that he doesn't show his power. But still, her sari got burnt. So he said, don't worry. I know that was one of your nice saris you wanted. I was still young. I was not wearing so many saris at that time. And he said, I have brought you a sari for the evening function, for the jula, for the evening music function. You wear this sari, he said. And he gave me the sari that I'm wearing now. It is so old, actually. You can imagine it was Swami's 50th birthday. Now we are celebrating 95th birthday. So he gave the sari, he cut the ribbon, he had a little bit of that kheer, and he waited till my mother did the aarti and everything. And he came and he went 2 more rooms, and then there was this Lalitamma's room. The daughter was feeling so bad that the mother is not there, that Mysore Pak is there, Murku is there, no ribbon, she doesn't know what to do. When he came near the room, Swami asked, where is your mother? He asked. Swami, she has gone out to the shop. Oh, at this time she has gone to the shop, Swami said. And he didn't go into the room because the elderly lady to whom he was given the room was not there. He just turned and started to walk away. And there was another set of 8 or 10 rooms after going down a couple steps and continuing further. So he started to go, and this poor girl, the daughter, started to cry. And she said, what to do? And we all said, your mother should not have worried about ribbon and all that. It's more important that when somebody is down, we are all very good at making them feel worse by telling them what they could have done. So we all started to say, she should not have gone for ribbon. He would have just come. Swami coming into the room is more important. Who cares about the ribbon? This is our human nature. Instead of making them feel better, Swami has come all the way. His blessings are there. Don't worry. We were making that poor girl even more. She started to really sob and cry. And Swami walked away towards the other set of rooms on the same building. And by that time, this elderly lady came running with her ribbon and thing. And she realized that this whole set of 7 or 8 rooms had been inaugurated and Swami had gone away. She came and the daughter was crying. And this daughter, after listening to all of us, started to scold her mother. Why did you have to do this? See, these people are also saying, you went away. And all this is going on while Swami is inaugurating some. And she really started to cry. She said, Swami, I just asked Swami, can I come and live in Puttaparthi when he gave me an interview a few months ago because my husband passed away. My daughter is married. I wanted to live here in Prashantinilayam so that I can be in Swami's protection. And she had no sons or anybody. So he said, I will give you a room for my birthday. You stay because I am not a very wealthy person. So he said, I will give you the room. And he gave me the room. But look at my misfortune. When he has given me the room, he has come to my room. I am not here to welcome the Lord. What is this? This is how we are. She was just crying and we were all just, but in some ways we were all excited that Swami had come, he had given me the sari. We don't want to listen to her problems. We said, don't worry what to do. It's all right. He has come all the way to the door and all that we said. But we all felt very bad for her. And Swami went and inaugurated a few more rooms. And he started to walk back towards the steps, which is the staircase, which is in the middle. And as he came there, from that distance, he could see that this lady had come and she was just standing with a very pleading look. But she knew that Swami would not come back all the way to her room, just standing there. And Swami stopped near the steps and he climbed up and he came up and said, Lalitamma, endukani tedustunnao? Why are you crying so much? She just fell at his feet. Swami, I just wanted you. She has brought the ribbon, she has brought the scissors, but she has not tied it because she was so busy crying after listening to this story. I went to buy this, Swami. Everybody was tying it. I also wanted to do. I didn't know this custom of cutting ribbon. Otherwise, I would have brought it yesterday. And Swami said, oh, is that so? That's why he went, okay, tie it. And he waited, this old lady and the daughter tied the ribbon. And then he cut the ribbon and he went inside it. In her excitement and agitation, she completely forgot to offer that Mysore pak and muruku that she has made. And Swami stood there, he cut, she went there, he's standing, she said, then we are all standing near the door. It's a small room, everybody cannot go inside. And then he said, Lalitamma, are you not going to give me your Mysore pak? Oh, Swami, I have it, Swami. Again, this poor lady is so agitated. She brought it. Swami ate a small piece. He ate some small murku. Don't cry so much. I'm always with you. These are all just worldly, physical things, this room and everything. The main room that you have to keep ready for me is the room of your heart. If you are always filled with devotion like you are now, I will enter that room whenever you want me to enter. Not only on my 50th birthday, he said. And having blessed that mother and daughter, Swami left. So there was a lot of excitement of getting a sari, of the excitement of the 50th birthday, the helicopter, the music, everything. And then after everything calms down, we will all introspect a little bit. And we will all talk to each other about the excitement of the days that went by. And at that time, I was thinking, how fortunate is this lady that just with her devotion, she could make him come back. This Lord who had inaugurated all the rooms and was going down the staircase almost, she could drag him back to him. That capacity to have that intensity of devotion is the purpose of being a devotee. It is not important how many birthdays we celebrate or how many functions that we attend, how many bhajans we go to, or how many study circles, or even how many talks like mine we listen to. That is not the purpose. The purpose is to develop that intense devotion for Swami where we can make him come to us. We can demand with that love for him to come to us. So that love, I think we must all remember to develop. Now, how is that possible? How can we develop? A lot of people, whenever I give talks, they say, you had the good opportunity to interact very well with Swami. Physically, you interacted with Swami. We have all just had darshan from a distance. We have not had Pad Namaskar. We have not had any interaction with Swami. How do you do? So Swami says that The physical interaction, of course, some people were fortunate to have that. And coming in a physical form, he also has some limitations. So he is able to interact with a few. But in this avatar, Swami has interacted with thousands of people in many ways. And even without his physical form, he has interacted with many people in different ways. I'm sure all of you who are listening today, if you look back on your life, you will remember many times when you thought that something was a coincidence. And when you thought more deeply, you will realize that it was actually God's presence in your life. But one of the things that Swami always used to tell us when we were children, that the best way to develop this devotion is through Namasmarana. Namasmarana does not mean only singing bhajans, because the people who can sing bhajans can sing. Those who cannot sing, what will they do? We may ask. Namasmarana does not mean only singing. Namasmarana means thinking of the Lord, whichever God that you may prefer. Some people may be used to Rama, Krishna, Jesus, it doesn't matter. But thinking of the Lord every day, every moment, if possible, to do it. Of course, every moment it's not possible. Swami used to sometimes tease my father. My father was a man of very few words. So he would always say, when Padmanabha enters his clinic, his dental practice, he stops thinking of Swami. So my mother would always say, why do you stop thinking of Swami when you go for your practice? You must always think of Swami. And my father will say, when I'm attending to my patients, I have to think of my patients. I think of my patients as Swami. Swami has come to me and I am treating him. That's how I think, he used to say. So Swami would tease him like that sometimes, and all of us during our day-to-day life, we may forget. So for that too, Swami gave a solution. He said, when you have to do some work sincerely, whether it is your office work or you're a mother, you're looking after the children, you can't go on sitting there saying Sai Ram, and not do your duty, because duty is the most important thing. So when you are doing the duty, you say, Swami, I have to do this now. Be in my heart while I am doing my job sincerely. But on other times when you are not doing anything, rather than waste your time doing so many things that we do to waste time, at that time you do Namasmarana. So Namasmarana does not mean only doing bhajans. It can be listening to people who are giving talks. It could be satsang through your friends that you may talk about the Lord. It may be reading the books that you like, whichever, whether it is Satya Sai Speaks or the Vahinis or whatever. But in some way, occupying the mind, not only through bhajans, because many times when I've given talks, when I get questions and answers, people ask me, Auntie, we cannot sing, Auntie. How can we do Namasmarana? Many people have asked me that. So it's my father, in fact, since I talked about my father was a terrible singer. He could not sing at all. Forget about being able to sing. He could not even keep beat. You may have seen my father in some of the videos from Vrindavan. He comes behind Swami, and when Swami sits down on that chair, my father also used to sit right next to the step stool. He spent all his life in Swami's service. Even after he retired, he spent every single day, every moment in Swami's presence. But he could not sing. In fact, I think I'm remembering one very funny incident. Swami used to have Trai sessions for the college boys. And in the evenings, Swami used to gather all the college students and he would give them discourses. Sometimes he would ask the college students to sing bhajans or even call upon a student to speak. Sometimes in those days, he used to even call me and say, come and speak something. So he would give a topic and he would ask. So at that time, sometimes he would ask the college boys to sing. And all the boys knew that my father could not sing, because if they are sitting next to my father and they are trying to sing, they will also forget their words, the tune and the beat, because my father will sing in the wrong tune, follow the bhajan in the wrong tune. He will clap in the wrong way, so the poor tabla guy will completely forget his beat. The bhajan singer will lose, the lead singer will lose his beat. So everybody knew my father cannot sing. So one day when my father was in the Trai session, He was asking some of the students to sing some bhajans. And suddenly he turned to my father and said, Padmanabh, why don't you sing a bhajan? We were all sitting in the second room there, and we could almost hear the boys groan in shock. How can this man sing? And the boys are such good singers. Padmanabh, you sing. So my father said, Swami, you know, I don't know how to sing. So I said, it doesn't matter why you are saying you don't know how to sing. You can sing. My father, having spent 50 years at the lotus feet of Bhagwan, I don't know what he was listening to when he was sitting in the bhajan sessions. He had not learned a single bhajan. This was just not in his genetic structure, this singing. So Swami kept insisting, you sing. And my father knew that he could not. So this is how Swami tests our ego. Because we are all attached to our body consciousness. We cannot sing. And that too, Swami is asking him to sing in front of so many people. Not only these young college boys, but all the elders are also sitting listening. And everybody is laughing. Because my father was very fair and his face became red. And he said once, Swami, I don't know how to sing. I said, when I say sing, you should sing, he said. So my father started. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Stop. Then Swami said, oh, chappu chappu, sing. So next time, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. In this tune, there is no tune to that. Stopped again. Then Swami said, sing again, sing it. So my father came up with some other name, Hara Shiva, something he said. Swami said. Then finally my father didn't have any more names or words. He did not think, Sai Rama, Hare Hare. Then Swami said, Antena, Padu, sing some more. Sai Baba. Finally, all the boys are laughing and my father is, first of all, he's singing with no tune. There is no, and he said, okay, stop. Please, from now on, because you don't know how to sing, even when other people sing, you keep quiet. Don't sing. Your bhakti in your heart is enough. Your namasmarana that you do in your heart is enough. He told my father. Then later that evening, when he came out for darshan, my father, as usual, came behind Swami in the darshan and sat next to Swami's chair and the boys were singing beautifully. The Brindavan bhajan singers were singing beautifully. My father is sitting on the stage and now he is clapping because in the morning, the previous evening, he had been pulled up by Swami for not clapping or singing. You never clap or you sing, Swami had said. So Swami now had given him permission, please don't sing. So he thought if I don't clap, this will be a problem because tomorrow evening he might tell me to play tabla. So I better clap. So he's clapping so badly. My mother and I, we are sitting there thinking, oh my God, it's better he stops clapping. Otherwise, these Brindavan singers who are singing will also lose their beat. Then finally Swami looked at him and said, stop. Very quietly with his hand, he just said, stop, like that. And my father kept on. Then in the evening, again in the Trai session, when we went inside, he called my mother. See, Kamlamma, whenever Padmanabh claps, the tabla fellow forgets his beats. When Padmanabh sings, the singer forgets the song. So my father bowed, yes, Swami, I don't know how to sing, Swami. So Swami said, yes, you don't know how to sing, right? You don't know how to sing. So this was the joke for a few minutes, my father. And then suddenly at that time, Swami materialized a beautiful ring for my father, which was a topaz ring. And he said, and inside that ring, you could always see Swami's silhouette. It was not a picture of Swami, but just Swami's silhouette in the middle of the ring. You could see, if you turned it at an angle, you could see Swami's silhouette. And he said, you know, Bangaru, Namasmarana does not mean only singing bhajans and clapping. Namasmarana is constantly thinking about the Lord, which you do all the time. See, that is why I will always be in this ring. When you don't remember me, I will go away from this ring. So this was the motivation for my father to constantly think of the Lord. So one of the lessons again that I learned at that time was that it is important to think of Swami, whatever we are doing, wherever we go, make him a part of your life. Make him a part of it. He's not separate. Only in the puja room, we come in the morning, light the lamps, we sing a few bhajans, say our prayers, and then we go about our work. We have to be like that Lalitamma, where her intensity for Swami made him come back. Or you have to be like my father, who's thinking of Swami all the time, but when he is doing something else, he puts aside that, but puts all his intensity to do his work with sincerity. So these were some of the things that I learned from my parents. I have to be very thankful to my parents for giving me such a wonderful grounding in how to worship the Lord. My father had his own way. He was a very quiet person. He worked from morning till evening, and he earned the grace of Swami because of that. One of the things today, I was just thinking as Sister Soumya was speaking, it flashed in my mind. One of the things that Swami gave me when I was a teenager, actually, he had come to our house for dinner. And whenever he used to come to our house, Swami would say, Emi Samacharam, any questions by anybody? And I would always be the first one to raise my hand. Even if I didn't have a question, I always wanted to ask a question so that Swami will talk for some time. Otherwise, sometimes, if nobody asks anything, Swami will get restless and he will just get up and leave. So I would have some question or the other. So that day, Swami said, some few people asked one or two questions. And that day I said, I raised my hand as usual. What today? What question do you have today? So I said, how can we please Swami? What can we do that will make Swami happy? So I started my talk in the beginning. We spend a lot of our time in trying to pray that Swami makes us happy. We are always praying, Swami, I want this, I'm sick, I'm this, my child, my husband, my family, my job. We are always expecting Swami to make us happy. But I thought I should flip the question. I said, Swami, what should I do, or what should we do if we want to make you happy? If we just sing bhajans, if we just do whatever we are doing, some seva activities, will that make you happy? So Swami got up from his chair. He had come to our house many times, and suddenly he got up and he went over to one of the bookshelves in my father's house, and he picked up a small little bowl that was there, and he gave it to me. And he said, see, I told Padmanabh to join the Rotary. In those days, Swami's organization had not yet developed. There was still no seva activities and all. The main thing that was going on was bhajans and also Balavikas. But seva activities were still very few. Only Narayan seva people used to do. But Swami asked my father, who was very much service-oriented person. So he knew that it would make my father happy only if he is helping somebody. So he asked my father to join the Rotary organization. In those days in India, and even now for that matter, they were doing a lot of service for people who were in need. So Swami just got up from his chair and walked up to the bookshelf, and he brought a small bowl that was there, which had the Rotary symbol. This is the slogan for the Rotary organization. He gave it to me and he said, see, Padmanabh does this. That's all you need to do to make me happy. So I thought I should share that. He gave me that bowl. It was in the bookshelf of my parents' house, but I have always carried that bowl wherever I go with me, just to remind me, in case I forget, I should read it every day so that I can always think of making Swami happy. So he gave me this bowl. You can see that it's a small bowl where you can keep some things in it. So he gave it to me. And this is the slogan in there. He just went up to the bookshelf, picked it up, and he said, see, just do this. You will make me happy. So the first slogan, it's in the in the Rotary organization, they have something called the 4-way test. How to test yourself. So this is what Swami said. And the first test is it the truth? Whenever you say anything, whenever you do anything, whenever you think about anything, ask yourself, is it the truth? This is nothing but the Trikarna Shuddhi that Swami always talks, to keep your thought, word and actions pure. So the first question is it the truth? The second question he said that you should always ask is it fair to all concerned? Whatever you are doing, are you being fair? Whatever it may be, whether it is your husband, your children, your colleagues that you're working, your colleagues that you work with, if you're a doctor, the patients that are you being fair to them? Is it fair to all concerned? Whatever thought, word and action that you do, ask yourself that. Then the third question he said, will it bring goodwill and better friendship? So whenever you say something, whenever you have certain thoughts, because thoughts always translate into words and actions. Whatever thoughts you may have, whatever words you may say, whatever actions that you do, ask yourself, will it bring goodwill and better friendship? Will you get better friends because of that? That too he said, and I remember him saying, not just friends, better friends who are good friends, good people around you. This is the satsanga that Swami talks about. He said, will you get that in whatever that you do? And the last of the 4-way test is, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Whatever you do, your thought, words and actions, is it a beneficial thought? Is it a beneficial word? Or is it a beneficial action to all concerned? Not just for yourself. Not about I, but it's about all of us. So whenever you do anything, Bangaru, he said, ask these 4 questions. And if your answer to what you're doing answers to this, then you are pleasing Swami. And he gave me this book. So wherever I have gone all over, I have taken this with me, just to remind myself that if I want to lead a life in a way that would please Swami, then I have to ask these questions to myself all the time. So this involves Namasmarana and Trikarna Shuddhi, that is purity in thought, word and action, Satsanga, that is keeping the company of good people, and then all the time praying maybe for the benefit of everyone, which we do at the end of every bhajan. In Prashanti Nilayam, we always say Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. All of Swami's teachings somehow got encompassed into these 4 questions. So I was very happy and I kept it with me. So throughout my life, my parents have been a great example in how to go about doing this. But I have also been very, very fortunate to have Swami guide me through my life in all these very small things. Wherever I have made a mistake, he has always corrected me and said, you have to think of a way which is always beneficial to everybody. So this was the 50th birthday. So I learned a lot from then onwards. And then, now we are celebrating the 95th birthday. So we really have to ask ourselves, are we really trying to do what Swami wants us to do? Or is it just one more birthday that we are celebrating as a function? We have to question ourselves. Is it one more occasion for us to bake a cake and cut a cake and then we eat it ourselves? Swami always used to tease us whenever we did Naivedyam, Neeku chupu, Naku mepu. You show it to me, but you all eat it afterwards. So is this all a birthday has to be for us, where we just bake a cake and then we eat it, we show it to him and then we eat it? We have lots of bhajan programs, we all sing our bhajans and then we go without that Trikarna Shuddhi. So we have to question ourselves. Swami always says we have to question ourselves. So so throughout my life, I saw people who Swami helped because of these qualities of Trikarna Shuddhi or Namasmarana or their love, their intense love for Swami. One particular incident today, I think maybe the last one, that if I have time, that I'd like to share with all of you, and this concerns my mother. In 1974, my grandfather had passed away, and my father and his elder brother, and his younger brother, they were all going to Allahabad to do some ceremonies and all that. And my mother and my aunt, this is my father's sister, they were to join them at that time. They went a little early, my father and his brothers. My mother and my aunt were supposed to go a little bit later and join them. And they were taking a train to reach Allahabad from Bangalore. And so this is again, I'm coming back to the intensity. When we have intensity, we will feel Swami's response. I think that is what I'm trying to convey today. If we have the intensity to pray to him, we can please him and he will come to our aid and give his response in different ways. So that particular day, my mother and my aunt, they both left to go to Allahabad from Bangalore. And it is a long, I think 24 hours or something, 36 hours, the journey from Bangalore to Allahabad. And they were going, and somewhere late in the evening, the train goes through a junction, through a place called Itarsi. This is a place in northern India. And it was going through, and when the train was going through that late in the evening, it came to a halt in a small town, little bit further away from Itarsi, the train station. And the train stopped, and suddenly there was no movement, and these two ladies who were traveling by themselves got up. I'm talking about 1974. They were all not used to traveling by themselves so much as we do these days. And they went out, they found out what's happened. Why is the train stopped for so long? Half an hour went by, 45 minutes went by, and all the people in the train started to get out with their luggage. So my mother and my aunt also got down, and they said, what is going on? Why are you all getting down here? And they said, oh, this train is not going any further. There is some strike, all India strike that has started, and people are lying down on the railway tracks and not allowing the train to move forward. So we are all going to get on here. And many of them were North Indians who lived nearby or had relatives. Many of them, Itarsi, they got down. Now my mother and my aunt, two South Indian ladies, my aunt knew a little bit of Hindi. They got down, they don't know the language. They came to the station, and by the time these people realized, took out all their luggage, and all the people have gone away. There was just the station master's room is there. So they went there, and in their broken Hindi, they said, when is the train going to come? We have to go to Allahabad. So the man said, I don't know, ma'am, it is, the strike is going on. So till the strike stops, we are not going to have any trains, because they will burn the trains or throw stones and all those things. So no train will be there. Why don't you go to some relative's house or something? So these two ladies we don't have any relatives or anything here. We are from Bangalore. We are going to Allahabad. So they were just sitting there on one of the benches outside, and the station master didn't seem very helpful at that time, and they were just sitting. Everything was closed. There's no food, nothing. The whole station is dark except this man's office, and it was about 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the evening. Finally, he got out, and he came to them, and he said, look, I can open one of the waiting rooms. You sit there tonight if you like. But tomorrow morning, you can go and find some hotel or something and go and stay in a hotel till the train start to go. I don't know when it will start. So I will open one of the waiting rooms, he said. So these two ladies sat down, went in the waiting room, and he was also still doing some paperwork. And these two ladies were saying in Telugu that what is this Sai Rama? They had taken permission, as it was the habit in our family. Wherever they went to Swami first and took his permission to go. And they are both talking in Telugu. What is this? We took permission from Swami. We told him, this Sai Rama, where are you, Sai Rama? We are stuck in some station We don't know the language. We have no food. They can't go into the town. The town is about 5 or 6 miles away. And those were not days when there were taxis and all these things. If they have to go, they have to walk. And one man is there. He's not speaking very well to us. And both of them. So my aunt said, Ayo, Sai Rama, and Chapve, Swami Rane Ravla. So she was telling my mother, they keep saying Sai Rama, he has to come to our help. We are both stuck. How can? And imagine my uncles who are waiting in Allahabad and the train doesn't show up and they don't know where these two ladies are. Please remember, not the days of cell phones. There is no pay phone, nothing. They try to ask that man, can you give your telephone to use? He said, no, I cannot let you do trunk calls and all those things. And these people don't know in which hotel they are staying. They were just supposed to come to the station and pick these two ladies up. So both sat in that station. The station master went out. They were both sitting there saying, Sai Rama, what shall we do? My mother took out her travel Swami. She had one travel Swami. She put it there in the thing and both are just sitting there saying, Sai Rama, I don't know. Till tomorrow morning, at least we have a place. This man comes back to tell them, I'm going now. You both ladies lock the door and sit here because don't keep the door open. We don't know who will come. So this scared these ladies even more. So and as he's going, he sees this small photo of Swami and these two ladies are sitting there saying Saram. Suddenly he looked at them and he said, you are praying to this Sai Baba? He asked. So they said, yes, we are devotees of Sai Baba. We are from Bangalore. We are. So as soon as this man heard Swami's name, he said, why didn't you ladies tell me before? They said, we don't know. Why should we tell you? We are Sai Baba devotees. We are just telling you we are stuck here. He said, oh, you didn't tell me you are Sai Baba devotees. You are both praying like this. You sit here. I will go to my house and tell my wife and bring you ladies some food. You sit. So he went away and these people thought, okay, maybe he'll bring us some food at least in the night. We are both sitting here starving. My mother was a diabetic. He went. After about 15-20 minutes, he came back. He came back and said, no, my wife is saying that if they are Sai Baba devotees, why did you leave them like that? Two ladies, you bring them to the house. So he said, ours is a small house, but if you don't mind, you can come to my house if you trust me. Because they don't know who he is. So they thought, okay, some man is saying Swami's name, so we will trust him. And they went with him to his house. That lady doesn't know any English or anything, but she nicely fed them. They gave some two beds to sleep on the floor. They slept there in the thing. And the next day, actually, he got, because he is the station master, he got the information that one train is going to start at 9 o'clock. He said, come, train is going to come. They thanked them very much. Really, Swami has come to our help. You people have helped us. They thanked them, got into the train, and they went. They just told, we are going to Allahabad. They told him, we are going for some ceremony of my father-in-law. Okay. They went there. Those people were petrified because the train never showed up anyway, these people. And there is no way you can call them or message them. So they were waiting in the train station asking that station master, when is the next train coming from Itarsi, where it has stopped. So these people went, they finished whatever job they had to do. And my uncles had some other work. All of them had some conference. They went away. These ladies have to come back again in this train. And they left in Allahabad. And this train goes through Itarsi at 2 o'clock in the morning. So they were fast asleep. These two ladies, it's going through Itarsi. Thankfully, they were going back to Bangalore. They wanted to reach their own place. Suddenly, as the train is slowing down in the night, these ladies were fast asleep. Suddenly, they started to hear some loud chanting saying, Sai Rama, Kamlamma, Sai Rama, Sunandamma, Sai Rama. This is Sunandamma is my mother and my aunt, and Kamlamma is my mother. They were saying Sai Ram, Kamlamma because they are North Indian. Sai Ram, Kamlamma, Sai Ram, Sunandamma. They are shouting like this. And as the train is coming, these two ladies, somebody shouting her name. They are saying Sai Ram, Sunandamma. Sai Ram, who is this? They both put their windows out and they see that the whole station is filled with many men and women, men wearing the white clothes, and wearing Sevadal scarves. All are standing. And the train is going through this small town. It only stops for 2 or 3 minutes. It's slowing down. And through the windows, they didn't know in which compartment my mother and my aunt were. They were shouting so that they will put their heads out. These two ladies put their heads out. Lot of people were also putting their heads out to see why all this big noise is going on. They spotted, and through the window, these people started to give my aunt and my mother, here is the food for your journey. Here is the milk for you to drink in the night. Here are the bananas for you to eat till you reach Bangalore. And these people were giving one after the other as the train moves. They were just loading them with all these fruits and puri and so many things. These people are, why are you giving? They said, no, we have not. They were shouting in Hindi, which my aunt could understand. We have not seen Sai Baba. We are very poor. We are not able to come up to Bangalore. But you have seen him. So we are going to give you this because it is like giving our Swami. Because we have not seen. So instead of him, you have come to us. So we will give him. Please give him our pranams. Please give him our pranams. They said, please tell him that we are all praying that one day he will bring us to Bangalore to see him. Bangalore or Panchanathan, they said. So these people, the last man gave, one of the men gave one letter also. These ladies were in tears. Just by saying the name of our Swami, how many people have come and responded and shouted our name and gave us all the food tomorrow for our way. And by the time they reached Bangalore, by 4 o'clock in the evening, the following day they reached. And then the next day, they both went to Vrindavan, my aunt and as soon as they went, Swami called these two ladies. My uncles and all had not come. He called them for an interview. And he said, how are my devotees in Itarsi? Swami, we just said your name, Swami. We had a little photo. And Swami said, yes, I know. You were sitting there in the waiting room saying, Sai Rama, where are you? We cannot understand the language. We are stuck here. Railway strike has happened. You were praying for me. And that fellow heard. He did not help you in the beginning because he doesn't know the language, that's all. He's a simple man. But he took you home, isn't it? He looked after you, put you on the train and everything. See? Says, yes, Swami, they gave us food in the middle of the night, shouting our name, Swami. Yes, what did they say? They said, we have not seen our Swami, but you are our Swami because you have touched his feet. We do pranams to you, Mataji, they said, didn't they? See, they are all such good devotees. Lot of purity and simple love for Swami. No ostentatious love, just simple love for Swami, he said. And he gave them interview, talked to them. And then 6 months later, this whole group from Itarsi, I think they were motivated after seeing my mother had sat in their house, in their broken Hindi, in that station master's house, she had told them some stories about Swami also. Maybe they were motivated. This whole group had come. My mother didn't know. She was sitting in the ladies' side in Vrindavan. She didn't know that this whole group had come. Some group had come. They were sitting there. My father came behind Swami and everything. And when they came near the group, Swami called my father closer and he said, Padmanabh, you know where this group has come from? My father said, I don't know, Swami, some large North Indian group has come. No, they have come from Itarsi. These are the people who helped Kamlamma. And he went to these people and he gave each and every one of them Padnamaskar and Vibhuti and clothing and saris to the ladies. And after all of that was over, he called my mother and he said, come here. And he called the station master also who had come. He said, is this not the man who helped you? See, Swami knows each and every one of us. This was the first time the station master was having a darshan of Swamis. But Swami called him and said, see, this is the lady you helped. This is her husband. He introduced my father. And they both serve Swami. But you have served Swami more by helping these two ladies in their time of need. Swami said, And he blessed them and gave them something. They were all in bliss. They stayed for 1 week in Vrindavan. After that, Swami gave them place to stay, and then they went back. And after that, many times, Swami would remember them. And see, they were all simple devotees. They don't have big houses. They don't have big altars. They can't even do very big seva activities. But their deep yearning and love for Swami makes me respond to them. I am always in their minds. I am always in their thoughts. And whatever little actions they do, they always do thinking of me, which is why they helped you. So, brothers and sisters, today, on Swami's 95th birthday, I think we must all think of Swami and pray to him that he gives us the capacity to please him in a way that is pleasing to him. Think of him with devotion, have purity of thought, word, and deed, keep the company of good people, and serve in a way that is beneficial to everybody. So with these words, I just want to quote a small quote of Swami's that he had told me many, many years ago. This was in Swami's 40th birthday. I'm going back even more in time. When we all as children gave him a gift, my brother and I, when we all got together and collected some money, we wanted to give a small gift to Swami, because in those days, Swami, there were not this many devotees, and it used to be very hot in the shed there. Swami used to conduct the functions. We wanted to give a pedestal fan. I have spoken about this in other talks. I'm not going to go deeply into it because I have about 5 minutes. But when we gave him this gift as children, we very much wanted to give a fan to Swami so that in the heat of Puttaparthi, he can put the fan on and enjoy some cool air while the bhajans is going on during the functions. But when we gave him the fan, Swami turned the fan towards the people who were sitting in that hall rather than towards himself. And we were all very upset because we gave the gift to Swami. Why is Swami giving it turning it towards other people? We did not give it to all these other people. This was our attitude. So, certainly not one of the 4 questions where he says, will it bring goodwill and better friendship? We didn't care about what the other people were. We were all small children. And we didn't care if other people were feeling happy. We wanted to give it only to Swami, our Swami, for his birthday, with our money, our hard work. It was all about us. So we were very upset that Swami, we felt, had not accepted our gift and used it for himself. So that night, it used to be the custom that after the birthday celebrations were over and all the lamps were lit, beautiful diyas and lamps. In those days, not this much electricity to decorate it the way they are doing it now. We used to light these small earthen lamps all over Puttaparthi. Wherever you go, you could see thousands of these earthen lamps. This was our job. We used to keep it everywhere around Prashanti Nilayam. And so after that, Swami would go for dinner and give us all Padnamaskar. So when we were all standing there waiting, Swami said, why are you all having such a long face today, castor oil face on my birthday? So we said, Swami, you didn't accept our gift, Swami. We bought it for you. He said, who said I took the gift from you? No, Swami, you didn't use it. You turned it towards those bhajan singers. And especially as youngsters, I know we were not that keen about the bhajan singers because we felt they never gave us any chance to sing. Same story, even in those days, Swami's 40th birthday. So Swami, why did you turn it towards those bhajan singers? Swami says, whose birthday is it? Of course, it's your birthday, Swami. That's why we gave you the gift. If it is my birthday, should you give me a gift that I like or should you give me a gift that you like? No, Swami. We want to give you a gift that you like because it's your birthday. And we think that you will like the fan very much because it is so hot in Puttaparthi. So hot in Puttaparthi. So Swami said, shall I tell you? At least next time we'll bring a gift that you like, Swami. You tell us, Swami, what do you like? What is the gift that you want from us? And Swami said, shall I tell you what I want? Will you really give it to me? Yes, Swami. Please tell us, Swami. Next year we'll definitely bring it, Swami. Whatever you like. So Swami said, I'll read it in Telugu. Sai ardinchu మీ నుండి సద్గుణములు సర్వమానవ సోదర సఖ్య బుద్ధి స్వార్థ త్యాగంబు పరిశుద్ధ సేవ పరిశుద్ధ సంఘ సేవ సాయికిచ్చేది ధనమిదే సత్యమగను 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 సాయి ఆర్ధించు మీ నుండి సద్గుణములు. Do you know what Swami yearns from you? Sai ardinchu. He's not even asking. He's saying Sai yearns from you. Do you know what that is? Sai ardinchu మీ నుండి, from you, sadgunamalu, good values, good qualities, sattvic qualities. That is what Swami yearns from you. Sarva manava sodara sakhya buddhi. Sarva manava sodara. The love, brotherly love towards all people, not Americans, Indians, anybody, but towards all. Sarva manava, all humanity. Develop the love towards all humanity. What kind of love? Sodara Sakhya Buddhi, not even just love, but as though they were your own brothers and sisters, your own family members. I want you to develop Sarva Manava Sodara Sakhya Buddhi. Loving friendship, loving friendship as though they were your Sodaras, your brothers. That is the kind. Sarva Manava Sodara Sakhya Buddhi. Friendship towards all. Swartha Tyagambo. Renouncing swartha, that is your own desires, your selfish desires, renouncing your own selfish desires. Parishuddha Sangha Seva. Sangha Seva is community service, but not just any type of community service. Parishuddha Sangha Seva, community service that is filled with purity of thought, word, and action. Parishuddha Sangha Seva. Sai kichedi dhanamide satyamavanu. This is the only wealth that Sai asks from you. So Swami's birthday gift that he wanted was just the wonderful good virtues, good qualities within us, service, love and friendship towards all humanity, renouncing selfishness, pure and love-filled service towards our fellow men. This is the only wealth that Swami wants, he said. When you are ready to give me that birthday gift, Bangaru, I will take it for myself and I will keep it for myself. But till such time, it is not a gift that you are giving me. So brothers and sisters, it's 8:45 my time. It is time for you all to get on with your program. So this was in the 40th birthday. This is the 95th birthday. His physical form has left, but yet we are to give him at least one of these things out of the 5 or 6 things that Swami has mentioned. If we are able to give at least one, I think we would be able to show our love towards him and give him a present that he wants. Jai Sai Ram. I'd like to thank you, Lakshmi Turaga, and all of the office bearers who gave me an opportunity on this very auspicious Kartik Monday on which Swami was born, which has also come according to the date today on the 23rd of November, for giving me this opportunity to go back in time and again recollect all of the things that I have tried to understand, yet to put into practice. I pray that Swami will bless me and all of you to one day give him a birthday gift that is deserving of this wonderful avatar that came on this earth. Jai Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, Sister Geetha. On behalf of the Sri Sathya Sai Baba Center of Kansas, we would like to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for sharing such divine glimpses of Swami's divinity. Next is a musical presentation by Dr. Dhurjati. Dr. Dhurjati Mudigonda learned to play veena under the tutelage of his father, Professor Veerabhadraya Mudigonda. Later, while studying at the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, Prashanthi Noyam campus, he was blessed with the opportunity to play bhajans on the veena in the divine presence of Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. He was also a part of the orchestra that accompanied various professional musicians visiting Prashanthi Noyam. He graduated graduated with a master's degree in chemistry from the Sri Satyasai Institute of Higher Learning. He received his doctoral degree in organic chemistry from Osmania University in India. He currently manages a research and development group at a paper manufacturing company in Ohio. He has served in various roles at the Columbus Psi Center and also as the regional devotional coordinator for Region 5. Brother Dhurjati lives in Columbus, Ohio. Now I would like to virtually hand over the mic to Brother Dhurjati. Sairam.
Sairam. Sairam, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to be part of Swami's birthday celebrations and such a wonderful, inspiring talk by Geetha Garu. It was, I just didn't want it to stop. Today I will play a few bhajans and Karthik, I hope you can play some Swami's videos during the bhajans.
Yes, Sairam, I will.
Okay, great. I was thinking of playing about 5 bhajans, and I will indicate what bhajans they are, so you can actually sing in your heart. That will be the perfect befitting of Swami's Jula program. So to start with Prema Bhakti Jagava Manume. I think most of us probably know these bhajans. So if you don't know, obviously you can chant Sairam. But if you know the bhajans, please sing along with me.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, Dr. Dhurjati, on behalf of the Sri Satyasai Baba Center of Kansas, we would like to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for such a divine musical presentation on the auspicious occasion of Swami's 95th birthday. Now we will be doing virtual cake cutting, followed by Mahamrityunjaya Mantram 3 times, then Harati and Vibhuti prayer. Happy, happy birthday, Sai. Happy birthday, Sai Baba, Sai Baba, Sai Baba. Happy birthday. Happy, happy birthday, Sai. Happy birthday. You are the one we love. You are the one who serves all. Prema Swarupa, Shanti Swarupa, Sai Baba, happy birthday. Prema Swarupa, Shanti Swarupa, Sai Baba, happy birthday. Happy, happy birthday, Sai. Happy birthday, Sai Baba, Sai Baba, Sai Baba. Happy birthday. Happy, happy birthday, Sai. Happy birthday. You are the one we love. You are the one who serves all. Prema Swarupa, Shanti Swarupa, Sai Baba, happy birthday. Prema Swarupa, Shanti Swarupa, Sai Baba, happy birthday. Happy, happy birthday, Sai. Happy birthday.
Now we are going to chant 3 times Mahamrityunjaya Mantram followed by Harati. ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी सत्य साई हरे भक्त जना संरक्षक भक्त जना संरक्षक प्रति महेश्वर ॐ जय जगदीश हरे शशिवदना श्रीकरा सर्वा प्राणपते स्वामी सर्वा प्राणपते आश्रित कल्पलतिका आश्रित कल्पलतिका आपद्बान्धवा ॐ जय जगदीश हरे माता पिता गुरुदैवमु मरियन्तयु मीरे स्वामी मरियन्तयु मीरे नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नागेन्द्राशयन ॐ जय जगदीश हरे। ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी वो साई महादेवा, सत्य साई महादेवा। मंगल हारति अंदुको, मंगल हारतुलंदुको, मंदर गिरिधारी ओम जय जगदीश हरे। नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण नारायण ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा साई नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण नारायण ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा साई नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण नारायण ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा ओम शांति शांति शांति। स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यां परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण मही महिषान् गोब्राह्मणेभ्यश्च शुभमस्तु नित्यं। समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु, समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु, समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु। ओम शांति शांति शांति।
जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय।
परमं पवित्रं बाबा विभूतिं, परमं विचित्रं लीला विभूतिं, परमार्थ इष्टार्थ मोक्ष प्रदानं बाबा विभूतिं idamastrayami. Sacred, holy and supreme is Baba's vibhutim, pouring forth in brilliant streams display of vibhutim. So auspicious is its grace, it grants liberation. Baba vibhutim, its power protects us. Paramam pavitram Baba vibhutim, paramam vichitram leela vibhutim, paramartha ishtartha moksha pradanam Baba vibhutim idamastrayami. Sai Baba vibhutim idamastrayami. Om Om Om.
సాయిరామ్ అండి.